The US highway system, once celebrated as a marvel of modern engineering, transformed the nation's mobility, spurred suburbanization, and boosted logistics and tourism following the implementation of the Federal Aid Highway Act of the mid-20th century. However, what was once a model of efficient construction has gradually ground to a halt. In the 1950s, cars were becoming more common, but the roads were rough and riddled with potholes, making long-distance travel a daunting task. Inspired by Germany's Autobahn system, President Dwight D. Eisenhower envisioned a similar network for the US. In 1956, Eisenhower signed the Federal Aid Highway Act, officially kickstarting the construction of an extensive highway system. By the 1960s, the network was largely established, offering Americans the convenience and safety of highway travel. The last major segment of the system, the 12.5-mile stretch of I-70 through Glenwood Canyon in Colorado, was completed in October 1992. Since then, few new highways have been built. Is this due to a lack of funding or other reasons? Reason 1. Maintenance over expansion. The US government has prioritized maintaining the existing highway network, which has reached near saturation. The marginal benefits of building new highways have diminished, making it more cost-effective to improve the efficiency and safety of the current system. Decades-old highways are aging, and bridges, roadways, and other infrastructure require urgent repairs or upgrades to ensure safety and support efficient logistics. Many core components of the highway network, built in the mid-20th century, have exceeded their design lifespans. Federal and state funding has increasingly focused on maintenance. For instance, the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act has allocated significant resources to repair existing infrastructure rather than build new highways. This reflects the growing emphasis on maintaining the current network. Reason 2. Legal disputes and community opposition. Legal battles and community resistance are some of the most challenging barriers to highway expansion, highlighting tensions between public interests, individual rights, economic growth, and social-cultural values. Highway expansion often involves land acquisition under the principle of public use. But this process is frequently met with intense property rights disputes. Some landowners argue that compensation is insufficient to cover the actual value of their property, or resist relinquishing their land for sentimental or historical reasons. For example, in Florida, a group of farmers sued the state over inadequate compensation for land acquisition. They contended that the offered amount failed to reflect the land's market value and the losses to their agricultural operations. The prolonged litigation delayed the project and forced the state to reassess its compensation policies, ultimately increasing payouts and altering the project route to reduce impacts on farmland. Reason 3. Environmental regulations. US environmental regulations, aimed at balancing development with ecological preservation, often pose significant challenges to highway expansion. Since the enactment of the National Environmental Policy Act, NEPIA, in 1970, federally funded or approved projects must undergo rigorous environmental impact assessments, EIA, evaluating effects on air, water, noise, and ecosystems. The EIA process is lengthy and complex, requiring interagency coordination and public input. Approvals can take years, with some projects needing redesigns after failing assessments. Legal challenges from environmental groups further extend timelines and inflate costs. In California, one highway expansion project had to circumvent an ecologically sensitive wetland. Compliance with the Clean Water Act necessitated redesigns, increasing costs, and delaying completion by nearly a decade. Reason 4. Threats to communities and cultural heritage. Highway construction can disrupt communities and jeopardize cultural landmarks. Towns often protest projects that threaten traditional neighborhoods, as seen in Massachusetts, where residents successfully lobbied to preserve a century-old church by altering a planned route. Indigenous territories pose additional challenges, with federal laws like the National Historic Preservation Act, NHPA, offering protections. Environmental and cultural advocacy groups frequently leverage these regulations to block projects. In Texas, an expansion plan faced lawsuits from residents and environmental groups, citing increased air pollution and adverse effects on nearby schools. Despite state proposals for compensation and mitigation measures, the project was scaled back and delayed. Reason 5. Focus on public transit development. In recent years, many U.S. cities have recognized that expanding highways does not resolve congestion, but exacerbates dependence on automobiles, leading to worse traffic issues. Prioritizing public transit has emerged as a preferred solution. Efforts include expanding urban rail systems, like those in Boston, Los Angeles, and Seattle, offering more convenient and sustainable commuting options. The rise of walkable cities further reduces highway dependency by promoting walking and cycling. Boston's Green Districts initiative, for example, enhanced public transit infrastructure and reduced downtown traffic pressure. The Big Dig project transformed an elevated highway into an underground tunnel, freeing surface space for parks and pedestrian zones. Despite budget overruns, the project garnered widespread acclaim. Reason 6. High costs and political complexities. Highway construction involves significant financial investment, with rising material and labor costs exacerbating budgetary pressures. Maintenance costs also strain government budgets, as aging infrastructure demands increasing repairs. Federal-state collaboration often funds highway projects, but shifting political priorities have redirected resources toward education, healthcare, and climate initiatives. This has reduced funding availability for new highways. For example, Pennsylvania halted a $2 billion highway expansion after costs ballooned to $3 billion, sparking public criticism and prompting states to reconsider large-scale infrastructure projects. Can the US overcome these barriers? The US has made significant strides in technological innovation, particularly in intelligent transportation systems, ITS. These systems integrate advanced communication technologies and sensors to optimize traffic flow, reduce congestion, and minimize emissions. For instance, California's Smart Highway project employs real-time traffic management to enhance efficiency. Public-private partnerships, PPP, are also becoming increasingly popular, attracting private investment and accelerating project timelines. Texas has successfully used PPP models for highway construction, sharing financial burdens and fostering innovation. Streamlining administrative processes is essential. Current approval procedures and regulations often cause delays and cost overruns. Simplifying these processes and standardizing approvals across states could significantly improve efficiency. While advancing infrastructure, the US must balance economic development with environmental stewardship by embracing sustainable construction and transportation solutions.